Hi, I'm Morgan. I am mostly active on TikTok, but I thought in lieu of TikTok's imminent destruction that I'd try migrating over here. Obviously, I have no idea what the I'm doing. I've been very intimidated by BookTube for an incredibly long time. It's very it's very scary. It just seems a lot more like I love that like on TikTok I can just post like quick little thoughts in my life that I don't necessarily have to have like very well thought out coherent ideas on. And on booktube it's all the quality is so high. I was a little intimidated, but I love watching videos on here and I thought I'd try it out. This will be a little introduction: who I am as a reader, who I am as a person, kind of vibes you might get if you want to subscribe over here, etc., etc. I'm Morgan. I'm in my 20s. I live in the United States. Obviously, given that I'm going to be affected by this TikTok ban. I have a full-time job. I'm doing writing for an ad agency. My only hobby really is reading. I kind of, as a person, like I am neurodivergent. I get obsessive interests that go like mine for the last 14 years has been A Song of Ice and Fire. But I also think I get kind of obsessed with forms of media, where in 2023 it was movies. I watched almost 300 movies, I think, that year. And in 2024 it's books, and I think it'll be books for the foreseeable future, hence why I'm creating this booktube account. I love to read. Last year, which is weird to say because it was only like 4 days ago, I read 164 books, which is my best reading year of all time. And I read primarily fantasy books. I also read a lot of sci fi, some nonfiction, some literary fiction, mainly 90% fiction books. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm very dorky. Love nerd, primarily A Song of Ice and Fire, which is all over here. I really adore. I'm a diehard fan, definitely a special interest of mine, so I will be talking about that probably at length. So here are some books, some of my favorite books of all time. Try to hide behind. This Is How You Lose the Time War. I love sapphic books. That's my bread and butter. Alone with You in the Ether. I actually got this signed by Olivia Blake at Comic-Con, and this is the self-published edition, which is incredibly exciting. I love that. I also got this copy of This Is How You Lose the Time War signed by Amal El-Multar, and that was very exciting meeting both of them. I was so excited. Actually, so going off a tangent, wait, let me find it. When I got this signed, she was also giving out free, it was at New York Comic Con. She said I was the first person she ever signed books for at any convention ever. So that was very exciting. And then she had arcs of The River Has Roots, which is releasing. Usually it says, and I got that signed too. That was very exciting. Okay, sorry for the tangent. Back to books. N.K. Jemisin, the fifth season. This is arguably my favorite book of all time, but perhaps the winner of that battle is Kindred by Octavia Butler. These two are definitely my two favorite books of all time. They're incredible. If you haven't read either of them, Kindred is Octavia Butler. It's like light science fiction, mostly historical fiction, I'd say, and it's about a black woman from the 1970s who keeps being transported back in time to the antebellum South. And it's really scary and really intense and so well written. Like, she's a creative genius. She's out of this world. Speaking of Octavia Butler, Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents over there. Honestly, also, isn't this like the most gorgeous edition of any book ever? I'm obsessed. It's in I can't get it to focus not on my face. I'll figure that out in future videos. But this is insane, and this duology is amazing. Octavia Butler is my favorite author of all time. The fifth season by N.K. Jemisin. Look up trigger warnings for this before you read. Look if you have issues with child death. You will definitely have issues with this book. It starts out with a woman named Essen, whose son has been murdered by her husband, and their daughter has been stolen by him. And she's on a quest in the middle of the apocalypse to get her daughter back and take revenge on her husband. And it's a trilogy. The other two books I don't like as much. This one's incredible. This is like the book. This is a book that kind of reignited my love for reading. This is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I love this book. This is like the secret history if it were gayer. I almost said gay, but that's not accurate. If it were gayer and about theater kids, and it's amazing. I love it. Then we have the only romantasy I've ever loved in my entire life, Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I love Allie. She's my girl. My STEM, Kylo Ren Standing Queen. Stoner by John Williams. This is a lovely book. This follows a man from birth until death, just like an ordinary guy, like an everyman. And yet it's so beautiful, and I was so emotional by the end, and it's really brief. Then I have Dune by Frank Herbert. One thing about me, love special editions, like gorgeous. And I have a whole little Dune shrine right up here. This I love much better than the movies, although I did love the first movie. That was really good. And then last but not least, I have A Feast for Crows. Look at how gorgeous this edition is. Like, what the that's kind of hard to see, but that's insane. That's so beautiful. A Feast for Crows is my favorite book within my favorite series of all time. I love A Feast for Crows. It does not get the respect and the hype it deserves. It is so good, and I love that shit more than anything. It is amazing, and if you haven't already read A Game of Thrones, check Trigger Warnings first. Make sure that too, and then if you're cool, go. Like, venture forward, move onward. Like, it's amazing. So yeah, those are my favorite books of all time. I also, as a person, I try to read as diversely as I can, because like it's just a no-brainer. Like, not only does it make you a better person, it also makes you a better reader, and it also makes you have better reading experiences to read outside of your own bubble. And this year, 2024, was my most diverse reading year of all time. In February, I read only Black authors, and I'm definitely going to do that in February this year too. And I think I'll also do either an Indigenous History month, only Indigenous authors, or an AAPI month, or maybe both. I don't know. We'll see. But it was an incredible reading year for me. Both of my favorite books of all time I found in 2024. Both of them are by Black authors, Black women, and just just figure do that, like, get on it. Let me know what your favorite books are if you have any.